All right, so now we're going to give you the sample commentary. When I go and sit down with my teacher, I'm going to have my original annotations and I'm going to have my planner in front of me. And I want to make sure that I have both of them there so that I can reference the materials that I've prepared for myself so that I can give the best commentary possible. So here's my sample commentary. Hi, my name is Mrs. Pizzo, and I will be discussing the passage, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. In the beginning of this passage, the speaker, who is Maya Angelou, is talking about the morning on the day of her graduation. She's extremely excited. She shares a lot of exchanges between her mother, her brother, and the rest of her family. And the overall feeling she gives is happiness and exuberance. In the middle of the passage, it starts to transition. They're walking toward the school for the graduation ceremony, and the mood changes a little bit, and there's this loss of excitement and this feeling of dread. During the graduation, which is at an all-black school, she has two white men arrive after their principal gives a speech, and these men start talking about how great the white school is and all these great things that the white kids have that these children do not have. And this is where Maya Angelou starts to feel angry. She's thinking about all the things that she could do with her life if she wasn't being held back by these white men and the idea of her skin color. She remains angry until the very end, and her classmate, the student who received valedictorian honors, had to give a speech. And at first he's talking about just, all the great things that they've done and can accomplish. And she's still angry at that point. But then he turns around and he starts saying the Negro National Anthem. And at that point, she starts really listening to the words, and she all of a sudden becomes proud and very defiant. Okay, so it ends with those feelings there. The author uses tone and word choice in this passage effectively to convey how Maya Angelou actually feels during this graduation. To begin, we're going to start with the very beginning with lines 6 and 7. It says, "The day had none of the insistence maturity would bring in the few hours." I chose this line because the tone was the word choice, I guess, with insistence maturity. It connects later on to the passage because at the end of the passage, Maya Angelou does grow up. And it's not this thing where she ages insanely, but her maturity level increases. And I thought that at the beginning of this passage, for her to talk about the insistence maturity that it would bring in a few hours, I thought that was really poignant because she does mature toward the end. And I thought that word choice to offer that at the beginning was purposeful. In lines 11 and in lines 14 and 15, she's talking about God. And it says, "He allowed me to live to see this day. And then out of God's merciful bosom, I won a reprieve." And if I take those lines out of context, I think about how she feels at the end of this piece. And it's important because had she not seen this day, had she not had the chance or this opportunity to experience what she experienced on her graduation, she wouldn't have had the mindset to overcome what she did in terms of discrimination and race. The fact that she chose the words very carefully, God allowed me to live to see this day, and his merciful bosom, she won this second chance. She really chose those words because she was excited at the beginning, but it then foreshadows what happened later with the fact that she is happy that she lived to see this day because it changed her whole outlook on everything. In lines 21 through 25, I thought this was an interesting line in terms of word choice, or I guess purposeful, what she wanted to point out in terms of characterization and what it reveals. Okay, so at the end of the story, she's talking about how all of these intelligent African-American children are going to have to work extra hard in order to achieve anything. And she brings up the idea at the very beginning of her brother handing her this collection of Edgar Allan Poe poems, which, they jokingly call EAP. And they turn to Annabelle Lee. And this is a graduation from elementary school. So the fact that she's turning to an Edgar Allan Poe poem and offering, and reciting these lines with her brother at the very beginning of the passage shows how intelligent she is. so that when you read further on in the passage, when she realizes like she doesn't have the same opportunities because of her skin color, it's very telling. And I think it was purposeful here. And then lastly, she gives the idea of it was a dream of a day. And this is contradictory in 2 points. Like, she was very excited about this day, and that whole beginning is talking about how amazing she was feeling and how excited she was to be graduating. And then it contrasts at the end where she, has this reality check. But without this day, she wouldn't be who she is today. So in a way, it was a dream of the day, a dream of a day. And these lines are important to the overall passage.